Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera semua. So today we will discuss the first topic in internationalisation strategy of the firm. The topic is entering and working in international markets. So this topic will be just brief before you move on to the next topic, which is exporting. I feel like it's important to discuss this small topic first. So there are several modes of entry to the global market. Macam mana nak enter global market, ada beberapa cara lah. Ya, ia juga bergantung kepada a few decision factors. Ya, decision factors can be categorized through Dunning's eclectic paradigm and also other factors as well. There are three main mode of entries to the global market. First is through exporting and global sourcing. This is when you import or export products or services. There are also non-collaborative or contractual mode of entry. There is also collaborative or true foreign direct investment. Makin lama makin banyak komitmen lah yang di sini. So here we will discuss an overview of foreign market entry strategies and the internationalisation of the firm. There are several foreign market entry strategy. So it will depend on the type of control that the firm wants and how much resources that the firm would like to commit. Ya, berapa banyak resource yang dia boleh invest selari dengan amount of control yang the firm wants. Lagi rendah control, lagi rendah resource commitment. Yang paling rendah adalah exporting. Yang kedua rendah adalah non-collaborative or more towards contractual. Yang paling high commitment and with high control level is wholly owned subsidiary. Lain market, lain mode of entry-nya. Because different markets or different countries, they have different taste and also different country risk. As you can all remember, we have discussed about country risk a few weeks ago. So different country, different risk, so different mode of entry. Okay, you can observe this example. Siapa pernah dengar kopi kapal api daripada Indonesia? How kopi kapal api dipasarkan di Malaysia dan juga di UK adalah berbeza. Kalau dekat Malaysia, this is how it looks like. Exporting pun tak apa. Kalau di UK, maybe they want to change the packaging a bit, although the product is still similar. Same goes for entry strategy. Perlu ada adaptation ataupun mengubah suai mengikut keadaan pasaran. Another case is, think about how and why Shell, the oil and gas company, internationalized to Malaysia. Kenapa dia nak datang Malaysia? We are such a small country, but we have rich resources in oil. So, they came to Malaysia because of the resources. But how they internationalize is through foreign direct investment. Kalau boleh nampak ada banyak petrol station dekat sini, tak mungkin Shell export minyak saja. Maknanya dia buat foreign direct investment. In return, apa yang dia dapat adalah Malaysia punya resources, minyak. This is very important, especially in this subject, and more importantly, it will be included in your final exam. There are three types of strategies: low control, moderate control, and also high control strategy. Low control strategies can be divided into exporting, countertrade, and also global sourcing. Tak perlu complicate sangat pemikiran anda. Think about you import and export products and or services. In terms of moderate control strategy, strategi-strategi yang mempunyai amount control yang agak sederhana adalah lebih kepada contractual. Licensing, franchising and other contractual strategy, and also project-based collaborative venture. Ini masih berbentuk kontrak. Project-based, apa-apa project-based perlu ada kontrak lah, ya. You all must know. and also high control strategy. For high control strategies, there are minority owned equity joint venture, majority owned or wholly owned. Maknanya di sini ada pemilikan. Kalau ada pemilikan, biasanya tax will be included. Tax yang perlu dibayar kepada tuan rumah. Tuan rumah di sini adalah the host country. For this different level of strategies, low control, moderate control and high control, the control available for the focal firm over foreign operations juga berbeza. Low control strategy, clue kat situ dah, the control is minimum. What do they mean by control? Maknanya, contohnya, kalau anda memiliki sesuatu secara penuh, anda ada full decision making power tak over that thing that you own? Of course you have. Daripada you pinjam saja. Kalau pinjam, it is not yourself, it is not what you own, dia masih milik orang lain atau milik benda lain. Oleh itu, you cannot make full decision making if you choose this type of strategies. Resource commitment juga berbeza. If you own, you will pay more, so you get more control. So high control dekat sini adalah high control strategy, but the resource commitment or the amount of investment that you have to make is much higher than low control strategy. But the flexibility for low control strategy adalah lebih tinggi. Kalau tak suka, you can leave the country. Bayangkan kalau anda dah invest berjuta-juta, berbilion-bilion untuk sebuah kilang di sebuah negara asing, do you think it's easy to exit that market? Of course not, because you have invested so much. So, the flexibility is minimum. Same goes for risk. The risk is low because the flexibility is high for low control strategy. The risk is high for high control strategy because the flexibility is minimum. Bayangkan, ingat tak topik country risk? Jika anda beroperasi di dalam sebuah, jika firm tu beroperasi di dalam sebuah negara yang high risk, let's say you build a facility or a manufacturing facility, kilang ke, di negara seperti Afghanistan. Kalau ada peperangan ke ketakstabilan berlaku ke, senang tak nak keluar rasanya? Boleh keluar, tapi anda masih mempunyai amount invested di sana yang sangat tinggi. Siapa nak bayar? Ya, so risk is high, flexibility is very low. To make it easier for you to understand the types of mode of entry, think of it as dating and getting married. Sebelum anda kahwin, mungkin anda nak mengenal orang-orang di sekeliling anda. Resource commitment dekat sini tak tinggi pun, ya. You all pergi dating, maybe keluar duit sikit lah. Tapi kalau tak suka, you can exit. You can exit the relationship. But kalau dah suka, perhaps you want to have some type of contract. Kat sini mungkin boleh bertunang. Oleh itu, you have more control over the relationship, but more resources has to be committed. Resources di sini bermaksud investment. Kalau di konteks international business, you use franchising or maybe joint venture as contractual strategy to enter the foreign market. Kalau dah suka, mungkin anda perlu kahwin. Kalau kahwin ni, the amount of control is higher, but the resource commitment is quite high in comparison to other mode of entry. Sebab banyak investment yang perlu dibuat kan. Sama macam di konteks international business, control level for wholly owned subsidiary or foreign direct investment is high and the resource commitment is also high. Nak exit the market susah sikit sebab kurang fleksibel. Nak exit a marriage memang boleh, tapi it's not as flexible as it is if you are just dating. Internationalisation of the firm is a combination of many aspects and also push and pull factors. First, let's look into the push and pull factors. It is usually a combination of triggers inside and outside the firm. So, those factors will be responsible for initial international expansion. If you can still remember apa yang kita pernah belajar di dalam minggu-minggu lepas, kita pernah discuss country risk, kita juga pernah discuss the role of government in the internationalisation of the firm. Kadang-kadang ada government yang akan menggalakkan foreign direct investment, memberikan subsidi, insentif dan sebagainya. Perkara-perkara ini akan menggalakkan international firms to internationalize to that country. At the same time, it will also depend on the firm. Kalau firm tu dah berniat atau plan untuk membesarkan operasi, membesarkan share pasaran ke arah antarabangsa, they will decide to go international. Second, initial internationalisation may be accidental. Usually, foreign expansion is often unplanned. It could be a result of chance events. For instance, meeting with a foreign distributor. Manager-manager kan banyak travel, kadang-kadang bila dia berjumpa sesebuah opportunity, they will grab it. Next, risk and return must be balanced. Managers akan memikirkan potential returns of internationalisation. Kenapa? The cost of internationalisation is very high. Ini termasuklah kos dari segi keuangan, kos dari segi perbelanjaan untuk nak belajar sesebuah negara tersebut. So, international ventures will typically take longer than domestic ones to reach profitability. Oleh itu, risk and return must be balanced. It is also an ongoing experience. The firm's internationalisation can stretch over many years. It can also involve many national settings. So this will provide opportunities for managers to learn and adapt how they do business. Perlu ingat, yang internationalize adalah firm. Yang akan membuat keputusan di dalam internationalisation tersebut adalah manager dan juga eksekutif. Usually, these managers and executives yang buat key decision adalah daripada negara asal syarikat tersebut. Think of contohnya Nestle di Malaysia. Yang CEO, CFO tak semestinya orang Malaysia. Usually it's somebody from overseas. Tak semestinya mereka faham cara pembuatan keputusan atau cara Malaysia membuat bisnes. So this is an opportunity for them to learn. Firms also may evolve through stages of internationalisation. Historically, most firms, they choose gradual approach kerana they have limited resources and lack of appropriate knowledge. But now we have technology. This can encourage quick internationalisation. Tak perlu bina kilang. Mungkin ada 1-2 shop dah dapat operasi yang besar misalnya. The first entry mode strategy is exporting and also global sourcing. Think of it as you export or import product and services. We will understand and discuss aspects in trade, especially on exporting as a foreign market entry strategy. We will also discuss the concept of countertrade, which is a popular approach for emerging markets and also developing economies. We will also discuss these 3 terms: outsourcing, global sourcing, and also offshoring. Importing or global sourcing is the procurement of products and services from foreign sources, pembelian. Exporting, on the other hand, is when you produce products or services in one country. Usually it's the producer's home country, and selling and distributing them to customers in other countries. This is a primary foreign market strategy because it's low risk, low cost, and also it's more flexible. Bayangkan anda ada ladang nanas, anda nak eksport kepada, let's say, New Zealand. Ya, itu exporting. We also have countertrade, which is an international transaction in which all or partial payments are made in kind rather than cash. Yang paling dekat dengan countertrade adalah sistem barter. The firm will receive other products in payment. What about services? kita boleh export dan import services. Ya, kalau ada soalan yang bertanyakan mengenai isu ini, the answer is yes. For example, you can import and export architecture services, education, banking, and so on. But many pure services cannot be exported because they cannot be transported. But most services are delivered to foreign customers through entry strategies other than exporting. For instance, bayangkan jika anda belajar di Singapura. Okay, kalau anda belajar di Singapura, duit Malaysia masuk kepada Singapura sebab anda telah membeli servis di Singapura. Sama macam ni. Contoh lagi satu adalah international travel. This is considered a service export. Contohnya, jika anda adalah seorang warga Singapura, you want to have medical surgery, mungkin nak betulkan muka ke, ya, having medical surgery in Malaysian hospital. Maknanya Malaysia dah export servis kepada Singapura. Kenapa? Duit Singapura masuk ke Malaysia. A few advantages of exporting. First, to increase sales volume and improve market share. Also, producers can generate better profit margins. They can also increase economies of scale, diversify customer base, stabilize sales fluctuations, and also minimize market entry costs. They also minimize risk and maximize flexibility. Ingat balik the flexibility and risk aspects of exporting. At the same time, they can take advantage of the capabilities of foreign distributors. Saya bagi contoh di sini, ada sebuah company di Malaysia yang menghasilkan susu badam. Kalau nak jual dekat Malaysia, penerimaan susu alternatif dekat Malaysia ni tak berapa memberangsangkan lagi. Katakanlah dalam 32 million orang Malaysia ni, berapa persen je yang berminat? Oleh itu, share pasaran adalah rendah. But if they sell to the Indonesian market, 1% from 273 million people is much higher than 1% than 32 million. So, exporting ni lebih kepada volume. So, you can see here, sales volume, you get market share, you get better profit margins. But there are several disadvantages of exporting. First, it requires firm to acquire new capabilities and redirect organizational resources. Sebab ada banyak dokumentasi yang diperlukan di dalam exporting. At the same time, we have discussed this a few weeks back, tarif and other trade barriers. Semua negara akan protect their own local industry. How they want to protect? They use tarif. Kalau ekspor sikit saja, adalah tax yang kena bayar dan sebagainya. And because you are dealing with the international market, you will be sensitive to exchange rate fluctuations. And if compared to foreign direct investment, the firm has fewer opportunities to learn about customers, competitors and the marketplace. Sebab ingat the flexibility tadi, exporting kalau tak suka market tu boleh exit. Tapi kalau FDI, kalau tak suka pun kena stay juga dan belajar juga market tu sampai dapat. Ya. Contoh disadvantages of exporting ni saya bagi contoh Indonesia. Ya, in Indonesia anda boleh baca sendiri, ada pelbagai kategori of products that has very high tariff rates. Termasuklah kosmetik dan makanan dan minuman. Again, all this is to protect the local industry. How to manage import-export transaction. Untuk subtopik ni, saya bagi contoh Babas. Babas ada presence in multiple countries. Mereka mengeksport serbuk kari dan rempah dan sebagainya lah. Kalau anda boleh lihat this map, you can see their products here, a lot of regions. Ya, the US ada, the Americas ada, New Zealand, Australia, and also Asia especially, and also Europe, Afrika pun ada. For export intermediation options, Babas boleh pilih indirect exporting. This is when they have contract with an intermediary in their home country. So this intermediary atau orang tengah akan perform all export functions. Usually this intermediary is usually an export management or trading company. Maknanya company dia akan handle banyak produk-produk lain pada masa yang sama. So this is more common among firms new to exporting. Tapi Babas bukanlah company yang baru dalam mengeksport produk-produk mereka. So they can choose direct exporting. Direct exporting is when they have contract with intermediaries in the foreign market. So these intermediaries can be distributors or agents, tapi di market, the target market tersebut. So they perform downstream value chain activities in the target market. Kalau Babas dah lama mengeksport, dah pakar, they can build a company owned foreign subsidiary di market tersebut. This is similar to direct exporting, but the exporter owns the foreign intermediation operation. Maknanya kalau Babas nak ada operation import export dekat Australia misalnya, they build one subsidiary dekat sana. Subsidiary atau syarikat tersebut, usually a small company, akan handle urusan import export produk-produk company. Company di sini adalah Babas lah. So more commitment but also more control for Babas. Ini menarik, countertrade. There are several types of countertrade. Yeah. First we look into barter. This is when goods are directly exchanged without the transfer of any money. Ini kita dah biasa tahu dan biasa dengar. Contoh, India dan Iran. They do barter trade where Iran provides oil in return for Indian rice. Another type is compensation deal. This is when payment is made in goods and cash at the same time. Combination lah. Contohnya, ada sebuah US aerospace company called McDonnell Douglas. They export aircraft. Ini lebih kepada military lah. In return, they export aircraft for Thailand. In return, Thailand provides cash, chicken and so on. Benda-benda yang Thailand ada banyak. Ingat comparative dan competitive advantage we have learned in the first few weeks. Another type is counter purchase. There are two distinct contracts here. In the first one, the seller agrees to a set price for goods and they will receive cash from the buyer. Ia juga bergantung kepada second contract, where the seller agrees to purchase goods from the buyer. Okay, a bit complicated here, but I give you an example. Pada tahun 70-an, Pepsi they traded soft drink for Soviet tomato paste. Soviet dekat sini lah. Ya, masa tu 1970-an lagi. So, sebab tu, they can enter the USSR or Soviet market. That tomato paste digunakan for its pizzas in Western Europe. So, ada dua kontrak dekat sini. Tomato paste, soft drink and also Western Europe pizza. Kak nampak kat sini, dia buat Pizza Hut. There is also buyback agreement. This is when the seller agrees to supply technology or equipment to construct a facility and receive payment in the form of goods produced by it. Contoh kat sini, India and Russia. India, they buy looms from Russia and sells textile to Russia. Looms ni, contohnya ini very simple loom lah. Sebuah alat penenun, if I'm not mistaken. So, untuk buat textile. So, India buys this product and the end product of using this tool, they sold it to Russia. Who are the intermediaries? There are several types. First is foreign distributor. Foreign distributor, they work under contract for an exporter. Their job is to promote, sell and maintain exporter's inventory. Sometimes they provide support for the exporter. Sebagai contoh dekat sini, kalau anda pernah lihat coklat ni dekat supermarket, this is distributed by DKSH, sebuah company yang memang handle produk-produk antara bangsa. We takers mungkin tak ada komitmen lagi nak buat satu syarikat atau satu kilang dekat Malaysia, so they went to a foreign distributor. Next is manufacturer's representative. This is an intermediary contracted by the exporter to represent and sell its merchandise or services in a designated country or territory. Next is trading company. It is an intermediary that engages in import and export of various commodities, products or services. They also perform marketing functions for the producers. Lastly is export management company. Export management company, they find customers for the firm. Jadi ada banyak intermediary dan banyak fungsi lah according to contract. How to work with foreign intermediaries? Exporters will rely on intermediaries for a lot of functions including marketing, physical distribution, customer service di dalam target market tersebut. In return, the exporter should cultivate mutually beneficial bonding relations and also respond to the intermediaries' needs, demonstrate commitment and build trust. Intermediary pula, they prefer to handle good profitable products. Kalau anda nak jual produk orang kan, anda mesti nak jual produk yang telah stable. Sebab anda tak naklah waste time and money to build reputation for the brand, betul tak? So, they want to handle good profitable products and also they also desire various types of support. How to identify intermediaries? There are some dimension of criteria here. First is strength of the organisation. How to look into it is boleh lihat ability to finance sales and growth in the market, ability to provide financing to customers, management team quality, reputation with customers, and connections with influential people or government agencies. Another dimension is more towards product. The intermediary must have knowledge about the exporter's product. Also, they have knowledge of the quality and superiority of all product lines. Also, the product lines yang dihandle oleh intermediary tersebut perlulah berkualiti tinggi. Again, kalau anda orang tengah, anda tak naklah handle produk yang tak laku, betul tak? Ya, also for the product, it is the ability to ensure security for patents. Sebab berada di pasaran antarabangsa, peniruan senang dilakukan. Another dimension or another criteria is the extent to which intermediary handles competing product line. Kalau kadang-kadang ada intermediary yang handle banyak jenis produk, sometimes these products are competing with each other. So it will depend on the ability of the intermediary to handle that as well. Saya bagi contoh kat sini, ada sebuah company di Malaysia yang memang handle produk-produk antarabangsa, khasnya produk-produk daripada Indonesia. Company tu memang company Indonesia di Malaysia. So what they do, they perform marketing functions. Kalau ada konsert-konsert, dia akan panggil artis-artis Indonesia. At the same time, ada event, they sell the Indonesian product that they are carrying. Another dimension is marketing capabilities. Yeah, this is the experience with product line, customers, and knowledge and the extent of geographical coverage provided in the target market. Boleh baca sendiri, tapi dia lebih kepada kemampuan pemasaran intermediary tersebut. Yang penting lagi adalah managerial commitment. This is the percent of intermediaries business consisting of a single supplier and their willingness to maintain inventory to fully serve the market and commitment to achieve exporters target sales. Satu lagi contoh yang menarik adalah kalau anda familiar dengan produk-produk ni, ada banyak di supermarket kan. It is handled by an export management company called KMT. Company ini diuruskan oleh pelbagai orang Korea dekat Malaysia. So what they do, they select good products from Korea and they deal with the Korean manufacturers yang mengeluarkan produk-produk ni, mereka menjadi orang tengah and they distribute kepada supermarket. We move on to our next subtopic, which is global sourcing. Global sourcing is the procurement of products or services from suppliers located abroad for consumption in the home country or a third country. It is also called global outsourcing, global procurement, or global purchasing. In other words, it is considered as importing. It involves a contractual relationship between the buyer and the foreign supplier, di mana the performance of a specific value chain activity is subcontracted to the firm's own subsidiary or to an independent supplier. Hasil outsourcing adalah produk-produk seperti ini. Your computer adalah hasil daripada pelbagai subcontracting, outsourcing dari pelbagai syarikat, pelbagai factory from across the world. What are the drivers of global sourcing? First, technological advances in communications, especially the internet and also international telephony communication lah basically. Yeah. This will lead to falling cost of international business. Katakanlah ada tempahan baju yang anda nak buat dan anda nak jual and you want to have it done in a factory dekat Bangladesh. Tak payah nak post kan, boleh email saja. Sekarang ni WhatsApp pun boleh. Also, entrepreneurship activities and rapid economic transformation in emerging market countries. Emerging markets kita dah belajar beberapa minggu lepas. Because of the interest in entrepreneurship, mereka lebih berminat untuk buat bisnes dan do something for themselves. So because of that, they will get a lot of businesses from more developed countries. Contoh kat sini, H&M production sites adalah di pelbagai tempat di serata dunia. There are two key decisions on global sourcing. First is to decide whether to outsource or not. It is essentially a decision of internalisation or externalisation. Externalise is outsource, internalise is not outsourcing. This is when the company decide whether each value-adding activity should be conducted in-house, ini internal lah, or by an independent or external supplier. This is also known as the make or buy decision dalam accounting. Firms usually internalize activities that are part of their core competence. R&D, designing, itu susah mereka untuk outsource. Or they will internalize activities that will use valuable intellectual property. Second decision is where in the world should value-adding activities be located. So, firms will configure their value chain activities in specific countries to cut costs. They will also choose the country to reduce transit time, access favourable factors of production. Favourable factors of production ni termasuklah raw material cost, labour cost, sewa dan lain-lain. They also choose the country based on their access to the country's competitive advantages. We look into global sourcing of manufacturing. Global sourcing ni lebih dilihat dalam bidang manufacturing lah, ya, sektor perkilangan, pembuatan dan sebagainya. Because it uses a lot of machineries, it uses a lot of labour. Oleh itu banyak company they outsource their manufacturing in countries to countries like China, India, Philippines dan sebagainya. First, we look into contract manufacturing. This is an arrangement in which the focal firm contracts with an independent supplier. This is to manufacture goods according to a well-defined specifications. Banyak company buat contract manufacturing dengan pelbagai negara-negara asing. Contohnya Nike, IKEA, mereka ada banyak buat contract manufacturing. There is also business process outsourcing. Nama glamour dia BPO. This is when companies they outsource business functions to independent suppliers. Function ni termasuklah function accounting, human resource, IT and customer service. Kadang-kadang ada company yang tak berminat sangat nak handle accounting, so they outsource. So BPO will include back office activities. This includes internal upstream business functions such as payroll and billing. Kadang-kadang ada company tak nak handle sangat, so they just outsource. It can also be front office. It includes downstream customer related services such as marketing or technical support. Kalau anda call Intel ke, kalau anda call HP ke, most likely you will get an operator from India because their business process outsourcing for customer service is in India, for example. Firms can also do global sourcing from subsidiaries. They can also do global sourcing from independent suppliers. This is the question of nak ambil kontrak dengan siapa? Buat sendiri ke dengan external? In global sourcing, the focal firm has two major choices. It can source from independent suppliers or internal, ataupun company-owned subsidiaries and affiliate. Global sourcing from independent suppliers will involve outsourcing production to a third-party provider abroad. Saya juga ingin kenalkan satu term called captive sourcing. This is sourcing from the firm's own production facilities located abroad, and production is carried out at a foreign facility that the focal firm fully or partly owns through direct investment. Contoh dekat sini HSBC, they have their own facility dekat Cyberjaya for example. They do international outsourcing, tapi outsourcing tu adalah di negara luar. HSBC UK kan, ataupun Hong Kong. Please let me know. HSBC, they have their own home country, but they do captive sourcing sebab mereka buat sebuah subsidiary dekat sebuah negara asing. Subsidiary ni lah yang akan handle function yang tertentu. So, global sourcing essentially is a question of internalizing or externalizing functions. It also will depend lah on the company, the product and so on. So ada beberapa kombinasi di sini. Value adding activity kept in home country and activity is internalized. So syarikat tu di dalam negara asal, production pun, supply chain function pun di negara asal. Contohnya proses-proses agrobank dekat Malaysia. Memang kena buat kat Malaysia lah sebab agrobank memang bank Malaysia. Tak pun, value adding activity kept in home country but outsourced. Ini adalah outsourcing tapi dengan orang luar tapi di negara sendiri. Contohnya agrobank tadi kan, they outsource payroll to a local company in Malaysia. Another combination is value adding activity conducted abroad where they do global sourcing but internalize. Okay, ni saya bagi contoh tadi HSBC. They have call center in Malaysia, specifically Cyberjaya. They delegate production to foreign subsidiary. Masih milik mereka, tapi di negara luar. When value adding activity is conducted abroad but outsourced, they outsource production to a third party provider abroad dalam negara luar. They also outsource to a different company, not their own company. Contoh kat sini, HSBC they delegate payroll services in external company outside of the home country. Saya bagi contoh rumah lah kat sini. Ini internalized, ini outsourced or externalized. Our next term is offshoring. This is a natural extension of global sourcing and refers to the relocation of a business process or entire manufacturing facility to a foreign country. Multinational companies, they shift production of goods or processes to foreign countries to enhance their competitive advantages. This is more common in the service sector, banking, software, legal and so on. The key word here is relocation. Also an extension of offshoring tadi adalah reshoring and nearshoring. Banyak betul shore kan. So many firms have re-established formerly foreign-based manufacturing back to the home country. Kenapa? Ada banyak isu lah, isu politik. Kadang-kadang banyak masalah juga kalau dekat negara luar kan. So baik pulangkan balik function tu dekat negara asal. So reshoring refers to the return of a business process or entire manufacturing facility to the home country. Why? Because of dissatisfaction with global sourcing. So they return production operations to the home country. Sebab isu sekarang ada banyak multinational company memang nak cut cost saja. So they produce their product dekat China, India dan sebagainya. Tapi China and India also have their own problems. Jadinya isu nak handle dekat negara-negara luar ni sebenarnya lagi mahal. It's more expensive to handle than the manufacturing cost. So usually they come back to the home country. So many multinational companies underestimated the cost and logistical planning required to locate production abroad. So that's why firms must decide and figure out the pros and cons of global sourcing. Another alternative is nearshoring. This refers to the offshoring or relocation of processes or manufacturing to a nearby country. Usually very nearby to the home country lah. Sharing a border dan sebagainya. Sebagai contoh dekat sini, kalau ada sebuah company dekat US, dia biasanya rely on Malaysia and Thailand for manufacturing. Jauh kan? Dan banyak isu pula. So, baik they move their production dekat Mexico. Mexico labor cost pun murah, dekat pun dekat. That is nearshoring. The choice in outsourcing value chain activities will depend on the activity itself. If the activity is important and if the activity is considered a strategic asset, the likelihood to internalize adalah rendah. Okay. Contohnya R&D. Kalau R&D ni, kalau boleh tak nak outsource lah. Takkan nak suruh orang lain fikirkan design untuk kita. So it's high importance, better to protect it and also better to internalize it. Usually it's concentrated at home. If the activity is involving manufacturing, configuring komponen, dia lebih kepada penggunaan labor yang tinggi, machinery yang tinggi. So kind of low importance, masih penting tapi tak sepenting R&D tadi. So the likelihood to internalize adalah rendah and also it's usually dispersed around various market. Ada pelbagai negara lah yang handle manufacturing. Sama macam manufacturing or assembly of finished products. Dia low to medium importance and usually concentrated in a few markets. Boleh tengok yang lain-lain. Marketing, kalau high importance, of course marketing is high importance and it should be handled by the home or parent company and it should be internalized. Tapi kalau marketing yang nak adapt tu, yang nak buat iklan dan sebagainya, itu perlulah diberikan kepada market-market yang tertentu lah. Yang ni tak perlulah the home country or home company nak handle semua. Sales and customer service, they have medium importance. Usually they are dispersed. What are the benefits of global sourcing? First, cost efficiency. Usually they have lower wages ataupun gaji yang lebih kecil abroad, so firms can improve profitability. And because of that, the firm can achieve ability for strategic goals through faster corporate growth, access to qualified personnel, improved productivity. They get to redesign their business process sebab banyak benda yang leceh-leceh diberikan kepada company lain. And because they entered a foreign market, mereka membeli kan, they also increase their speed to international market and also have access to new markets. At the same time, they can enjoy technological flexibility and have agility because mereka membuang overhead yang unnecessary. Global sourcing also have several risks. Kadang-kadang manufacturing cost di negara luar tu terlalu murah. companies will experience lower than expected cost savings. Ni nampak tak cantik lah di dalam financial statement ataupun their accounting documentation. Sometimes in some countries there are some environmental factors including exchange rate fluctuations, trade barriers and labour strike. Itu akan memberi impak kepada operasi syarikat-syarikat yang menjalankan global sourcing. Usually syarikat-syarikat yang menjalankan global sourcing ni mereka menggunakan negara-negara yang emerging market di mana labour cost adalah rendah, but the disadvantage of global sourcing di negara emerging market ini adalah usually they have weak legal environment. This can affect protection of intellectual property. Sometimes the workers are inadequate or low skilled. Itu akan memberi impact lah kepada syarikat yang menjalankan global sourcing. And also sometimes they will have an over-reliance on suppliers because they are conducting business in a foreign country, and also they have risk of creating competitors. Bayangkan kalau anda tempah, let's say buat tudung kan, tempah kat Vietnam, kain semua ada dekat sana, competitor nampak. You don't know siapa yang tengok kat kilang kat Vietnam tu kan. Tiba-tiba ada satu tudung yang sama macam tudung you, tapi brand lain, sama je. So you are creating competitor for yourself. Dan jika kebanyakan pekerjaan dah lari kepada negara lain, moral and commitment among home country employees akan rendah. Yelah, kehilangan kerja kan. Kalau tengok kawan hilang kerja, you suka ke tak? Ya, so commitment pekerja-pekerja anda pun akan rendah. So ini anda boleh baca sendiri. Kalau tengok global sourcing ni, banyak negara emerging markets lah. Ya. Dia boleh tengok Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia pun ada. Ini top rank lah because our English is quite good and we are quite educated. Yang ni anda again boleh baca sendiri. I don't wish to put this in your final exam. Maybe ada satu lah, ya. So today we have discussed about foreign market entry strategy, specifically using exporting. We discuss how to manage and also we discuss foreign intermediaries. We also discuss these three terms, outsourcing, offshoring and also global sourcing, their benefits and also risk, and also their implication to the global supply chain. I hope this week's lesson is useful. You can use this slide or this YouTube for your own revision. I hope it is useful and I will see you again next time. Assalamualaikum and thank you very much.